I'm going to answer Jose's question. For those that are audio only, it says, Jordan, is it just me, or
We're
is Jonah
done.
Williams, or is Jonah Williams a player we can afford to lose out on due to the depth chart and lack of physicality he plays with? A different player than we've recruited, right? Oh, look, I mean, I don't, in this day and age, I don't really think there's such thing as a can't miss player unless it's like DJ Sanders in the current D-line situation Texas is in. I would say DJ Sanders is a can't miss player. But outside of him, you can go get guys in the portal. With Jonah, though, look, different times throughout the spring. Earlier in the year, it looked like OU. Then it looks like A&M. Now it's looking like Oregon, but he's going to come see Texas next week. We'll be there on Thursday for the Texas Bash pool party. If I'm not mistaken, the last time he was on campus was in April. I might be wrong there. It was like April or January. He did not OV. I know that. And look, he's a number 7 overall prospect in the country. I've seen Jonah in multiple different settings. I've seen him, combine settings, 7-on-7. Never seen him in pads. I will say that. Never seen him in pads. But I've watched a lot of film. I'm not really sure the lack of physicality you might be talking about. I think, it's always interesting whenever subscribers for Horns 24/7 will go see recruits go play a game, and it's like, oh, he takes plays off, and duh, everyone does, especially once these kids commit going into their senior year. They're not going to try as hard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's how it works.
I can show you guys who were great players at Texas that took place.
Yeah,
I mean,
look, exactly.
I love the guy, but I talked about him before, and he'd probably tell you in high school. I watched Alex Okafor take a lot of plays off in high school.
Man, look at Colin Simmons' senior year compared to his junior year. Colin Simmons didn't give a flying F his senior year. He didn't. And it was 3rd and long. He turned it on and he get a sack. But outside of that, it's like, oh, it's a run.
I talked to multiple people that watched Duncanville last year. They'll tell you, man, hey, if you didn't know who guys were, you'd assume Alex January was the big time prospect because he's making plays. Alex January wasn't taking plays off. Here's my deal with Jonah Williams. Jordan,
I want to finish with Jonah Williams.
Okay, go ahead.
Thing with him right now, I still lean Oregon. The people I talk to in Houston area, Galveston area, they do think he's going to be committed going into his senior year. But thing is, there's a chance that none of this matters because he can still leave for the MLB draft. That is still so very much on the table. A little less than a year now because the MLB draft is just a couple weeks ago, right? Or no, I was thinking right?
It'll be during the summer. Yeah, it'll be the week after the College World Series next year. Yeah.
Okay. So none of this could matter for him. I think Texas has a shot. He wouldn't be visiting if he didn't have interest. I think at times his recruitment has kind of been all over the place. But, at the end of the day, there always has been some form of underlying interest in Texas, whether he's visited OU, Oregon, A&M, no matter how many times, Texas has always remained in the conversation. Mm-hmm. I've never felt good about their chances. I still don't necessarily feel good about their chances. But I know Blake Gideon, Terry Joseph, other people on the Texas staff, they've been chipping away at this behind the scenes the whole summer. They just have. So, to continue having a shot, they're going to need to crush the visit on Thursday and then get an OV scheduled for this fall. But if he's going to commit before his senior season starts, might have to really crush this Thursday visit, So that'll be interesting. At the same time, Jonah's had a lot of different ideas for when he wants to announce it or a timeline, different things like that. So I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up pushing it towards an in-season decision as well. But regardless, Texas is lingering around. Don't feel great about it. I still would lean Oregon if I had to choose one. But, Texas is definitely making this more competitive.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about him, too. And this is just me looking at this most recent draft. The trend is you're seeing fewer high school guys taken, more. I think there's a couple reasons for that. One, I think college baseball has done a really good job of developing guys. But I think the other part of that is I think organizations, they're not going to mess around with, hey, man, if you're going to spend a top 10 round pick and use some of your bonus pool money to draft a high school guy, then you're 99% sure you're signing that guy. I just don't think they're going to play the negotiation game with high school kids anymore because especially if you feel like, you're in a pennant race, you're in playoff contention, man, if you can get a guy, like let's say Jack Caglione, right? If the team that drafted him, I think the White Sox drafted him. But if the White Sox were in contention, man, is Jack Caglione a guy that could fast track? Could he be with you in September? Could he help you get to the playoffs? A high school kid's not going to do that. Yeah. So I think they're more about getting guys through their system quicker, guys they can fast track, and more often than not, that's going to be college guys. I just don't think they're going to play that game with high school signees of, oh yeah, we're going to need to back up the Brinks truck for this guy because he's got leverage of going to school. So I say that to say that Jonah Williams, the draft thing, it's going to be out there and it's going to exist until it doesn't. But that wherever he goes, we know he's going to get some NIL money.
Yeah,
I think. He might have the right amount of leverage that those franchises just say, you know what, he's a great player. We're not even going to mess with it. We'll draft him 11 through 20. And if he wants to take $150,000 or whatever bonus pool money we've got left, then so be it. But we're not going to negotiate a multi-million-dollar deal for a guy that has a lot of reasons not to play pro baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. And another, no, you're good. Another interesting thing that I want to mention. A&M has been around for Jonah Williams for a very long time. I think there were a couple times he was pretty close to committing there. There is someone in the Galveston area that does not see him ending up there. And they didn't say this themselves, but I do think if Texas has a good enough visit this week, it could become an Oregon versus Texas battle like it is for Michael Terry and name whoever other prospects you want to name this cycle. They've been going at it all cycle, all summer, it feels like. So would be interesting. I mean, if Texas could hawk down a lead led by Oregon for Jonah Williams as kind of a get back for the Decory Moore thing, I mean, that's a bigger position to need. Safety, it is, at least in my opinion. Yeah. And also, we have him listed as a linebacker. He's been recruited by Texas to play safety. He's a safety prospect. Yes, he could be a mean-ass linebacker. I think he could go to the NFL at either position. But he's going to play safety whatever school he goes to. Yeah.
I think, though, the way Texas uses their weak side linebacker, I think schematically that would probably appeal to him. How they used DeMarvion Overshown 2 years ago, how they used Anthony Hill last year. I know that it's going to change a little bit because they're moving Anthony Hill inside, but schematically, PK's got some stuff that could entice Jonah Williams. Like, hey, yeah, you're a linebacker, but we're going to use you kind of all over the place. You could also, at least early in his career, if you look at what they started to do last year, we started to see kind of shades of it in 22, but then really saw last year how in sub packages, especially on third down, how they basically made Mo Blackwell like a dime linebacker.
Yeah.
That's kind of the role. Kind of remember, I don't know if you remember, Jordan, but BJ Foster early in his career, they had that joker role for him, which basically that's what he was. He was a big dime, like an oversized dime back in their dime package. You could do that for Jonah Williams. I mean, there's a number of different things. My pitch, if I'm the Texas staff, my pitch for Jonah Williams would be, look, I'm pretty sure he's the last Galveston ball tour that was on the 40 acres was my all-time favorite Longhorn, Casey Hampton. So we only take bad MFers from Galveston ball, and we feel you're that good. So come on in.
Well, it would be a hell of a pitch. I will say with him, do you know if baseball is in the dead period? Could he stop by the baseball facilities?
You know what? I think I'd have to pull. Let me find the baseball recruiting calendar. Give me just a minute.
Okay, because I do know a big part of where A&M was, kind of with him earlier in the spring. A big part of that was because of Jim Schlossnagle. So, I'm sure Texas getting him as well has helped. And I mean, he gave us a quote talking about how it does help Texas chances whenever, that story was broken by Chip Brown. So,
well, I'm looking at the 2024 contact period. I would assume. Let's see. No, it should be open right now. It should be a live period.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got chaos.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, you're all good.